Hello, welcome to Ravenfox. My name is ThreeKlaw and I am the founding warlord of Clan Ravenfox, and we're a ghost clan on PlayStation 4. We're going to take you on a whirlwind tour through the dojo today, and we're going to start right here in the Hall of the Bells. This room has been our pivotal point in the dojo for very many years. It has all of the labs as well as the trading post, so members can come in and out of here and quickly get what they need to get done and get out, if that's what they need. We also have our trophies here. We've been on the leaderboard since Gate Crash, but we've been trophying since either False Prophet or Eyes of Blight, whichever one came first, I can't remember. But we're very proud of that. And of course that's in here so that everybody can see. These platforms up above, they were placed prior to the remaster, so as any veteran will tell you, that was a pain. And you'll see more of that in here. So if you see these discs, they're from before. And there was a lot of work put into putting them up there. Moving on, we have this garden, which was designed by our member Sussex Lucifer. He created this beautiful sculpture, as well as this rocky garden. Jumping up here, you can see that he's ringed the top in these snow-covered rocks, which makes a beautiful panoramic view. If we ever get a chance to move the dojo, I'm moving us to Jupiter. Or Lua, preferably Jupiter, so if there's a choice. This is also Sussex Lucifer's. It's this Hall of Meditation. It's designed to be a tranquil and comforting place. It has one of our 2 open campfires in Ravenfox, and it's designed to sort of emulate the nighttime environment of Pandora from Avatar. So you have all these glowy plants, and if I can manage to jump up here, you can see all these platforms that he's placed very symmetrically and with a great deal of precision, and it took him weeks to do this under the old system. And of course, any of us that have ever done this, they're staying right where they are because it took so long and was so difficult for us to put up. Welcome to Ninja Fight Club. These are 3 themed dueling arenas. We have recommendations for duels, like what weapons you should use. We don't ever recommend companions because anybody who's ever been one-shotted by a carrier knows that frustration. But each room is designed to not allow you to come direct face-to-face with your opponent initially. You have to find them. And then each room has specific recommendations, like this room is ranged weapons only and no AoE weapon. The Grenier one, which we're coming to next, is for hide and seek, and you can go in here with a blacked out warframe and preferably pistols, and it makes for a very interesting fight in this multi-tiered arena. Moving on, we're going to go to the training deck, also called the 4 Pillars of Heaven. And down here is where we've moved the bulk of our obstacle courses. We have 1 vanilla obstacle course and 2 of the architects. One of the architects I've converted into a functional firing range, and this was inspired by games like Resident Evil and Dead Space, who have these little firing range mini games inside, and I just wanted that kind of experience. So you go through the gates, engage your targets, and then hopefully knock them back down by the time you get back to the end gate again. And I really love that concept, and it's very easy to move around and configure. Moving up, we're going to go to Elder's Watch. Elder's Watch is where we have our clan vault. We keep it there so that anybody who's new to Ravenfox just doesn't throw their credits and resources at it, because we've had that issue in the past. And but this is just designed to be kind of a rocky, very austere, jagged environment. This is Elder's Retreat, or the Shrine to Shelley the Great and Powerful, and it is inspired by Hogwarts main hall. And initially under the old system, I could only get 4 lanterns in here and a tree and 3 platforms, but now we've filled it. And I'm not even up to capacity in here, but I just thought that was a nice balance of lanterns. This is our main council hall, and it has these lovely lanterns, these lovely reflections. Thank you, DE, for finally letting us turn the lights out in our dojo. This is designed to be a very cold and icy space. And I'm going to run up top here real quick and take a look at the upper deck as well as the Ascension altar. So here we are. We have all these in a circle. No throne, kind of like Knights of the Round Table. A place for every member. And of course these platforms were placed under the old system, and it took me about 2 weeks to get everything properly built and aligned. And there's our altar. Moving on. We're going to move now to the central garden. The central garden is at the heart of our garden areas, and it's ringed by observatories. We're coming out of that transporter, which I wanted to look like a Stargate. This room is dedicated to the idea of remembrance, and it spans the cycle of life and death and rebirth, and it specifically memorializes companions that we've had, so our pets. Here we have a Corpus machine utility room by Sussex Lucifer. And moving on, here we have the Tree of Nine Truths. We have a design ethic to not over-decorate. In this case, we really wanted to focus on these beautiful reflections that this garden provides. And then we'll give one more look. We're kind of a moody dojo. We don't have bright lights in many places. This is a tribute to my home. I'm not there anymore, but I'm from Alaska. And here's Spacehenge, where we celebrate Tenenbaum 365 days a year. And of course we have our snowmen who are performing the ceremony. And you can go in there and bang on the drum with them if you want. This here is a memorial to our fallen brothers and sisters, our service members. About half of Ravenfox is former military. Some of us are retired. Some of us are just out of the military. This is Friendship Forest. Another member, Kurgan, and I built this, and we had this vision for this giant forest, but we could only get 6 trees in here with the capacity and some bushes. So now we've made it a proper forest under the new system. This is our hangar deck and maintenance facility, and it imagines a space where we have all these things to support a fighter. And up top here we have Ravenfox's fighter. And like many other things in Ravenfox, we like to see these things built. We know that it's a game about space ninjas and it's not real, but we'd like to think that these things look like they could function in real life. And you can get in the cockpit there and look out towards the hangar. Oh yeah, and we've used every bit of capacity in that room. So there's no space. Here's Serenity Temple. It is built to replicate a traditional pagoda-style temple from China, a Buddhist temple. And I wish the skybox was different. I wish that we could see the sky instead of those lights, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful space. And in this next room, we have the Hall of the Wraiths and our Sentinel overlooking. Each stone in here represents a member of Ravenfox that's come and gone, and the size and condition of each stone is indicative of each member's contribution. And of course there's our Sentinel looking out and protecting the fallen. Can't go in there yet. We're going to cruise back through the Serenity Temple. And we're going to go to our traditional Japanese tea garden with our ceremonial tea house. And once I saw this tea set from the Twitch Prime drop, I knew exactly where it was going. We put a lot of time in our dojo in making these spaces seem livable and harmonious. Here we have the Wudang Mountains, which is a its inspiration is from Chinese ink paintings from the 18th century. You have these suspended bridges and these rock protrusions and waterfalls. And that's a Grineer mech from the old war, and the Grineer have slapped on some Orican things to augment it, so you know how the Grineer are. And of course you can get in the cockpit of this mech as well. And take a look around. Coming down, you can see the tail of this massive beast that's diving into the water. And even though it dives into the water, it continues in the next room, and it undulates around and back in and out of the water and comes crashing out of these pillars until we see that it is a meeting between these two very different dragons. And this room is called A Tale of Two Dragons. Mainly because I wanted a giant Chinese dragon in my dojo. Alright, a little wrong turn there, sorry about that. Alright. This is our north gun battery, and I always thought it would be cool to have a defensive position in the dojo, so there's the master fire control slaving the 3 guns. Each of these 3 guns is supposedly also to be able to be controlled individually. The details on these are meant to replicate weapon systems that we are currently familiar with, so they're reminiscent of Mark 19s with their belt-fed assemblies. And you've got one over here that's having a malfunction. So the round's been ejected through the back plate. We have one last stop on our tour, and that's to the spaceport. So the space dock is meant to replicate an airport concourse, so you have arrivals and departures and very cold hard benches to hang out on, and a ludoplex to play if you get bored waiting for your flight. And if you look out in the distance, you can see that there's a ship out there docked. And for those of you who know that ship, that is in fact Firefly. And this was spearheaded by one of our members, Kurgan. And he spent around 10 hours a day in the dojo for days and days getting the dimensions correct so that it would be the proper scale. Because like everything else, you know, we have to have the proper scale. So for those who know the show, there's a crybaby here. Well, let's go inside. Unfortunately, it's very dark here in the back because we found the skybox lighting doesn't extend back this far. So there's a lot of lost details back here. But it is as accurate to the show as we could get. So moving back to the left, we can run through the kitchen, back to the engine room. And then, of course, moving back forward through the crew quarters on the left and on the right to Serenity's cockpit, overlooking the spaceport. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.